best in the front, and especially on those rides, because it's like if you have someone else feel the difference coming in here, like you don't understand. Like I'm probably gonna go home tonight and hysterical cry about this. I want you guys to really understand that, and I'm a very strong person. Okay, so I'm going to be perfectly honest. This happened back in 2023, and it took me a long time to want to talk about it in this way. I did put it on my stories the day of, but it was a very intense moment for me, and I did go home and hysterically cry that night. And I wanted to make a video about it when I was more coherent to do it because I'm not about that. I'm not that person that cries in the camera. That's not what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is to let you know the reality of certain situations that happen that is not okay. So this happened at Disney World at the water park. And a little backstory, I'm in my late 20s. I've been to a bunch of water parks. I've been through situations where I had to demonstrate my capabilities of being able to go on a ride, usually involving a tube and handles, and me being able to hold it. Fine, I get it. It is what it is. But what I don't appreciate is the lack of conversation, the unprofessionalism, and the disrespect and the embarrassment in front of strangers. Just want to be really clear about something. Everyone's entitled to their opinions, and I hope you vocalize it in a very respectful way if you disagree, and that's okay. But this is why this is really important to me. I want to be able to have the right to demonstrate my capabilities, especially in the future when I have my own children. I don't want to be put in a position where I go on a water slide with my child and I'm not allowed to go with them. I do not want to be in a situation like that, which is why I think a video like this is really important because I think it needs to be discussed to prevent things like that from happening. Again, there's so many other scenarios as well. You don't know how someone feels about the disability, and maybe you're just really confirming those insecurities. Like there's just so many things. I've heard so many stories about Disneyland, Disney World, whatever, not doing what they're supposed to do when it comes to people with disabilities. It's honestly pretty horrendous. So what happened? I was at the top of this water slide, ready to go next, and the first thing out of this person's mouth was, "Where's your prosthetic?" The way it was said, it was just a little abrasive and rude and extremely loud, where everyone just kind of stopped and like watched. And the thing about prosthetics is it's not like you can just go to the store and buy one. You know what I mean? There's a lot of intricacy that comes into play with getting a prosthetic. And the thing is, it doesn't mean I want one in that specific instance for that specific activity. You know, there are people who feel more capable without a prosthetic compared to with. And it's really, really hard to see the use of a prosthetic in a black and white scenario. It's just not okay to do that. Because for me, I'm born this way. I'm more capable of doing things with my body naturally without a prosthetic, and that includes swimming for me, and that includes going down a water slide. If something were to happen, a prosthetic would actually hinder me because it just really be getting in the way for me. At this point, he's just trying to dismiss me and tells me that I'm not allowed to get on the ride without a prosthetic, which I've never seen before in the rules, or been told that before, honestly. So of course, I question it, and he just kind of just gives me attitude. But he gets the manager, and it takes a while for the manager to come. And as this is happening, I do notice that someone needs at least three people to help them sit on the raft to be pushed down. And it does get me so angry sometimes because I'm someone who is very healthy and is more than capable of going down the slide. But of course, something like that would be happening in the exact moment when the manager does arrive, she can't explain to me what the specific rules are regarding my ability to go on the ride. She doesn't know what it is. And I politely tell her with so much annoyance in my body, "How can you embarrass me? And you don't even know what the rule is to embarrass me by." Like, I just, what? I just didn't understand because she was saying that I needed to have a specific amount of fingers or all five fingers or be able to curl underneath the rafter without moving my body, which I can do because my limb is long enough, or be able to curl all the way where it just like covers it completely. I'm like, which one is it? Because depending on what it is, technically you can't even stop me. And she couldn't, like, she didn't want to
She just wanted to dismiss me too. And at that point, I'm a dog with a bone. All right. So I'm like, I need your manager. I need to speak to your manager. I need to speak to someone who can explain to me what the specifics are because I'm not okay with this. I also want to state that the fact that I was up on the water ride, I had told my cousin to get my cell phone because I wasn't liking how this was going so far. And the manager did stop me and tell me that if I were to go grab my phone, that she was not going to help me any further or let me speak to anyone else. So obviously I lied to her and told her fine, but I just gave my cousin the side eye and he grabbed my phone, I put it in my pocket, and just put, voiceover just so I can capture the conversation because I really thought it was important. And I'm glad I did.
He had some issues at amputee, I think it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, a little bit of discrimination happening out there that I'm not
It's
comfortable with.
unfortunately.
Only because is it stated on your website?
I honestly have to look. I don't know.
Okay, so
I
that's a
don't know.
problem.
I
That the
haven't
fact
answered.
that you don't know.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I don't know.
Okay, do your front service people know that before we enter the building, before we enter the attraction?
The entrance team probably not. Usually the ones that
Probably
are
not.
they don't have to be.
Okay, so when I make a purchase as well, does it tell me like the restrictions?
Yeah, I have to look at it.
Okay, so you don't know, and you own the park, right?
I'm security, so I don't. I have
So-
to be the manager of the day. So I'm in
Manager.
the security department, so I don't know.
So you're the highest person up right here.
But today, I'm the security. I'm the park manager. Yes.
Okay, so you being the highest up person, you don't know where it states.
Off the head, no. What I do is I have.
So at that point, that's the third person that I'm speaking to. And if this third person doesn't know what the rules are or where it's stated, how am I supposed to know? How am I supposed to know where to find these rules on the website if people who work at this establishment don't even know what it is and they expect me to know? How, what the heck? No, it doesn't work that way. So even if you want to come for me and being like, listen, maybe you should have looked into it. How? People who work there don't even know. How am I supposed to know? So there's just that.
Conversation is with ProSide, the manufacturer, because they're saying we're not going to allow that because it's a risk, right? Because
Say that.
well, I understand, but I can't list. You can't list
We
every
should
single.
have to.
But it's
So finally, I was able to speak to a fourth person who was able to kind of show me the rules. And again, the rules didn't apply to me technically, if you really want to be really straightforward about it. And they were able to explain to me that this was all about the manufacturer and not Disney. But at the same time, Disney is the host and you're accommodating. So there's a way to talk to people and a way to kind of go about things. And the way that they had things in place was just not okay. So I personally didn't even care if there was a rule stating that I wasn't allowed to do the ride. I cared how it was told to me or how I was treated because of it. That was not okay. And I want to be really, really clear on that. But to now be more on top of the rule, there wasn't a rule that stopped me from going on this ride. How crazy is that? There was not a rule that stopped me from going on this ride. And the fact that he tells me that they can't go about making a rule for every single little thing, you better. You should. If you want to stop someone and embarrass someone like that, you better have a rule to back it up. That's just my opinion, you know? And at that point, they're like, do you want to go back on the ride to just show me that you can do it to go? And I'm like, no. I wasted 4 hours talking to you people. I want to go home. Like, I'm so tired.
I think also information to the workers is very
yeah, it is.
even like
I agree.
even if you don't have this done now, like they should be trained better on how to handle things like that, including the front. If you can't put it on your website, which I don't know why, they need to know at least in the front, and especially on the drive.
That's another thing that's not black and white. I'm not going to go on the website if I don't believe I need any accommodations, right? Their website caters and looks like it's for people who need accommodation for something. It doesn't give any some sort of indication that there are restrictions. I also want to reiterate the fact that I am not from Florida. I traveled to go to the park and to celebrate my cousin's birthday with her group of friends. So it wasn't like I was with my friends when this was happening. I was with a bunch of strangers and my cousins. And that sucks. I wasted that whole day. They ended up refunding me my money and giving me like another pass to use the next time I wanted to come to the park, which I never used because I didn't want to go back there. And at the same time, the aquatics manager promised to email me in a month to just kind of update me and, all that. I didn't hear from him. It's been 2 years, at this point. So it's intense. Later on, I noticed that Disney World also started to change up their accommodations and make it less accessible for people who needed certain things. So there's that as well. So what's really going on? Like, I don't understand. Do you not think people with disabilities matter? Do you not think kids with disabilities want to experience joy in the park as well and would love to do that with accommodations? Or maybe be able to be spoken to in a polite, humanly way when it comes to restrictions if you really need them? Because again, I'm not here to battle you on having restrictions. I'm here because I don't like how I was spoken to. Oh, not okay with how that whole thing happened. Yeah.